You know, I'm sure a lot of you know about this depending on where you live, but it seems in various states across this country, a lot of state senates, governors, you name it, are doing their best to try to get everybody vaccinated. And one of those attempts to get everybody vaccinated is by putting drawings together, putting drawings, lotteries, cash contests, you name it. All in an attempt to get people vaccinated. And a lot of folks that hear about this, even those that are vaccinated, will look at this and in the case of California would say, yeah, that's a great idea and everything to, encourage people to get the vaccination, even those that don't want it. But we know it's just the last attempt by our governor to try to save his job before the re-election. Or the recall election, I should say, the recall election. We all know that. We that have been fully vaccinated, partially vaccinated, that don't want to be vaccinated, we all know that. But still, we do agree that, those of us that have been vaccinated or partially, we do agree that it is kind of a good move to try to encourage people to get vaccinated, because basically the one thing people care about more than anything besides just their family, it's money. And that's a hard truth. That, at the top of the list of caring about things, number one is your family, and alongside it is money. And that if offering cash prizes, that in the case of, let's say, California, total about, I would say, 116 million or billion dollars, if that's basically an incentive to get people to go out and get the shot, you can't blame them, because they know people would want nothing more than to get that money. And they would love to get their hands on that money, and they know that people would do anything to get that kind of money, including getting a shot, that they firmly are against. But speaking of those folks that are firmly against it, they basically, know, like I said, that this is nothing more than a feeble attempt by the California governor to save his job. But when you look across the land, across this country, like I said, other states that are doing the same thing, or at least similarly, they're doing the same thing, offering up cash prizes, offering up lotteries, drawings, you name it, to try to keep people to get the vaccination. And again, despite how you might feel about certain people, you have to admit that it is a good incentive, to try to get people to go and get that shot, even if it's just one shot, which would make you eligible. But again, there are those that don't want to do it. Even if they hear about this and they consider, that's tempting, but I don't want to do it because I know what they're up to. I know what this is about. Even if they feel it's tempting, they won't want to do it because they still believe, they still feel that the vaccination, is not everything it's cracked up to be. That it has little microchips within it that will help the government track you and keep an eye on you and stuff like that. And it's just, a bunch of conspiracy theories, if you will, that are preventing them from doing it. But when you really get down to it, despite whether or not you agree with the idea to, encourage people or give people an incentive to go out and get the vaccination, with the, potential promise of winning, a certain amount of cash prizes, depending on where they live, you have to ask yourself, is it just one last attempt? Is this one last major attempt for them to make this happen? Because if this last attempt doesn't succeed, which it looks like it's going to, especially for those that have been partially, if not fully vaccinated, like let's say myself, if this doesn't succeed, you have to ask yourself, what is next? What is next on the agenda for them to get people fully vaccinated, especially those that refuse it? You have to ask yourself, what will be next on the agenda? And I'm afraid to, wonder what could be next. And the only thing I can think of that could be next, and I talked about this when I was walking back to Veterans Memorial Park in Patterson after getting my second shot several weeks ago. I basically said that I could potentially see fines being issued. Fines being issued to those that have yet to get the vaccination. Or, fines being, announced for those that announced and given out to those that have refused to get vaccinated. And those fines could be in the thousands maybe. Not just the hundreds, but the thousands. That's how serious, obviously, states want people to, governors, state senates, the nation, they want people to get this vaccination. And that's what I'm afraid it's going to get to. It's going to get to the point that fines could be issued, probably more so than anybody can afford. And then that right there will be what gets people to go and get the vaccination, whether they like it or not. They're going to look at that and be like, oh, heck no, I'm not going to pay that. I'll go get the freaking vaccination. Even after they get the vaccination, they'll probably still believe that, yep, I just got myself traced. Hope the government's happy, and stuff like that. That will be the mentality they'll still keep. But hopefully we don't get there, and maybe this incentive that all the states are giving out, with these contests, these lotteries, these, cash prizes, these Vax for Cash, things, or contests that they're putting together. Hopefully that'll be enough to at least get a majority of the other citizens in the states where these are taking place out there to at least get one shot, if that's all they want to get, to enter themselves into the contest. Because again, what I'm afraid is going to happen if this doesn't succeed is that I've got a feeling fines are going to start being issued. Fines are going to get issued against those that don't want to get vaccinated. And again, I know that people would not want to have to pay a wazoo amount of money for a fine just because they didn't get vaccinated. So hopefully, again, we don't get to that point, but that seems like that would be a last resort. A last resort that we may see end up happening, very soon. If this whole, Vax for Cash, lottery drawings things doesn't prove to be the incentive, I should say, that they hope it will be when it comes to getting people vaccinated. So, what do you guys think? What are your thoughts on these states across the country, offering up all these, prizes, cash prizes, Vax for Cash stuff and all that? Do you think it is, another attempt, one last attempt, if you will, to try to get people to, get the vaccination? What are your thoughts? Comment down below. And do you think we might end up getting to a point of where fines could be issued? Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Comment if you like. And I will talk to y'all later.